Welcome back. Once again, I'm your host, Carl Rising, and today we are going to talk about Candida, which is, believe it or not, the cause of most health problems, directly or indirectly. Candida is a single-cell organism that lives as part of the microbiome in our small intestine, mouth, and in women's vaginas. It is but one half animal, one half plant, meaning that it can be very tricky to keep in check without bacteria living in your digestive tract that eat plant matter. Soil-based organisms, Bacillus coagulans, Saccharomyces boulardii, Lactobacillus plantarum, all of these different fermented vegetable-sourced bacteria that are really helpful for keeping that in check. Acidophilus, just plain old acidophilus as well, Lactobacillus acidophilus, because it produces a bit of a natural diluted food-grade hydrogen peroxide, which helps keep the pH proper in our digestive tract. As it thrives in a pH of 8 or above. And if this pH goes above 8 and it goes into the more alkaline territory, it's going to be nasty. Heck, I would say even in the digestive tract where we want things to be really acidic, especially in the small intestine where acid mixed food slurry is entering the digestive tract directly from the stomach. We really want it to be in there, probably about a 5 to a 6, at the most alkaline. Now it has to be acidic enough to break down the minerals in our food, to be alkaline by the time it hits the large intestine so Candida doesn't migrate. So we don't want that. That's how we get colitis, that's how we get diverticulitis, and those are the last things that we want if we're trying to have a proper, healthy digestive tract. Now, if you want to starve it, we need to remember it eats sugar and starch. So it's going to be anything sweet that isn't a sugar-free substitute. And I'm not saying go have your Splenda and your NutraSweet and all that stuff. That does you no favors neurologically. Now, Candida isn't all bad. It exists in all people, and if you have a symbiotic relationship with it at around 5% of our roughly 100 trillion in the average body, 100 trillion bacteria. We're actually only about 10% human cells. It's insane. We're walking bacterial fungal systems, and it's all about keeping it in check. And when it goes above 5, it turns into an opportunistic parasite. All of our intestinal flora produce neurotransmitters, either for us to use or as a signal. As a signal for telling us what types of foods to crave. When this is in balance, those cravings are in balance. We don't end up having excessive sugar cravings, excessive fat cravings, unless we're underweight, low blood sugar, and that's natural. That's fine. Do those things for short periods of time, get those problems reversed. But when you are in good health or sliding into autoimmune digestive issues, chronic inflammation, chronic fatigue, Candida is usually the culprit. Now, it'll cause leaky gut syndrome, which I'm sure that, if you've been on YouTube looking at Candida videos, you've heard of leaky gut. And that's Candida eating through the intestinal lining, largely because the pH has been off so long that we're not able to extract our proteins and minerals from our food properly to be able to keep repairing the digestive tract. Not only is the digestive tract a muscular, ropey thing, and we need protein to repair our muscles after exertion, it's also very, very constantly under fire from the acid in our digestive tract. We need to constantly repair that. It's not just about the mucosal lining, it's about keeping the tissue healthy in general so that Candida and other bacteria and our immune system stay where they're supposed to be. If the Candida wears a hole through and the immune system is very strong still, despite the lack of other enzymes produced by bacteria that have been crowded out by Candida, especially if it's in an autoimmune state, if we have any history of gluten intolerance, which we only really know if we've been tested or if we've done an exclusion diet to find out if Candida was or should I say, if gluten was an irritating factor, then we know. We know because we eat something that has gluten in it, and then we get a spike in our symptoms after a good 3 to 4 weeks of not eating anything with that particular protein in there. Now, what's the gluten and Candida connection? Every bacteria, every virus has what's referred to as a biofilm. The biofilm of Candida, being a half animal, half plant, single-celled organism, is likewise half animal, half plant matter. Now, part of the protein that's in that biofilm, part of the plant portion of it, is a protein that closely resembles gluten. Not only do foods containing gluten are good, not only are they good foods for Candida, not only are they high in starch and sugar, but they have that particular immune system stimulus to them. That when the immune system has been geared up to react with an inflammatory reaction towards Candida, we'll have a likewise reaction to gluten, and that can cause constipation issues because of inflammation. And it can also, when Candida is growing in its secondary stage, which is where it's usually in a problem area, which instead of being single cell little disparate organisms, it's in a long chain form of true fungal form. And this is where it becomes a problem. This is where it grows to where it shouldn't. Excuse me, the phone is ringing. And we need to get that back down. Now, if the yeast get out because the immune system is weak or has been weakened by biologic medication, then it's going to get out. If the immune system is strong, it's going to push in, and these are going to be different problems based on where that autoimmune reaction is happening. And we'll talk about that more, all the different diseases and disorders that can be caused by Candida in a future video. But just to get a good synopsis on what Candida is, and that's specifically Candida Albican Yeast. I believe this suffices. I hope you found this very informative. I hope you found this very helpful. And I hope that if it did, you either like, comment, or share. This is important information. It is not taught in schools properly. It is not taught in the doctor's office properly. And you would be floored by how many issues are associated with Candida Albican yeast overgrowth. Thank you. Take care.